Not holding hands. Harry can't even look at her. He doesn't even do the gentleman thing and lets her go first. He doesn't gesture for her to sit down first. No, he just ignores the hell out of her. And this is painful to watch for Meghan Markle. It is. He doesn't say my wife. He doesn't mention her at all.
They really hate each other now, and they cannot hide it anymore. King Charles and Prince William put on a united front last night. I thought that would dominate the headlines until I saw the simmering tension between the duplicity.
He's just done. Meghan Markle keeps mentioning my husband and I, my husband and I. He doesn't say my wife and I at any point because he's done with this woman. And you know what's incredible to me? That the way that press is...
You are not going to believe what went down that night. Harry finally snapped. Yes, the prince who's always cool, calm, and collected. He had had enough. Too many interruptions, too many stage smiles, and in a moment that left everyone speechless, that royal mask of his slipped. This wasn't some small casual slip-up either. Oh no, it was the kind of moment that you can feel ripple through the room. You know, the kind where every single person freezes mid-clap, mid-breath, and just stares? Yeah. That kind of night.
Standing there preaching about children's safety online or children's safety at all. It's like Harvey Weinstein advocating.
Picture this for a second. A glittering stage, cameras flashing like crazy, and every single eye locked on Prince Harry. He's mid-speech, confident, charming, totally owning the room like he was born for this. This was his night, his big moment. The crowd hooked. Every word falling from his mouth felt like a royal decree, and then she appeared, Meghan Markle.
The headlines until I saw the simmering tension between the duplicitous Duke and his face.
No cue, no announcement, no soft let-in. She just walked in and full Hollywood strut. Like, all right, everyone, the main character has arrived. The crowd actually blinked, and Harry, he froze. Just for a split second, his smooth, polished speech suddenly went off track like a train missing its stop.
It's the red carpet arrival.
We'll see you upstairs.
Because let's be honest, Meghan doesn't enter rooms, she arrives. She has perfected the grand entrance. She's that person who could walk into someone else's wedding and somehow make it feel like her big day. So when she strutted up there, it wasn't just an interruption, it was an announcement. Step aside, darling. The star is here only. Harry didn't step aside. He didn't turn to her. He didn't hand over the mic. His hand gripped it like it was his birthright. The man who had spent years being the shadow behind Meghan Markle wasn't moving an inch.
Of love, when he used to look at her in the eyes and lovingly look at her and say, this woman, I love this woman. Those days are gone.
And oh, Meghan's face gave everything away in just a heartbeat. That tiny flicker of confusion behind the smile. Because this was new. Harry had always been her #1 cheerleader, the man who'd give her the spotlight before she even reached for it. But not tonight. This wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was subtle, quiet, but oh, it screamed. A small act that said more than any argument could, and the crowd felt it. That delicious, awkward tension, the kind when a couple who's usually perfectly in sync suddenly goes off script.
Since then, as our network grew, we've seen the full scope of what we're facing.
The entire room split in two. Half expected Meghan to just glide in and take control. The other half, secretly rooting for Harry to hold on to that mic like it was Excalibur. This wasn't a speech anymore, it was a silent battle of wills. And the stakes? Oh, royal-sized. Meghan didn't grab the mic. She didn't stomp off either. Nope. She smiled, but not that perfectly rehearsed Duchess smile. Oh no, this one was tight, sharp, the kind of smile that could slice glass. Her head tilted ever so slightly. You could practically hear her unspoken thought. Are you seriously doing this in front of everyone?
Because he's reading under a lamp. And she calls it, oh, the amendment still makes me laugh. So the closest, I want you guys to understand, that she didn't post the video of him trying to purposely do something.
The cameras knew something was up. They zoomed in. You could almost see the silent storm brewing between them. Meghan stood there pretending everything was peachy, but every second was a masterclass in quiet fury. Harry, bless him, just kept talking, voice slightly shaky but steady enough. He didn't even look at her. His eyes stayed on the crowd. That right there was the message. I'm not giving in this time. Meghan's eyes flicked toward the mic, blinked too long, breathed in tight, and for someone who loves being the center of the universe, this was torture.
Togetherness with Harry is while he's all the way in a corner, away from her.
And the crowd, they saw it all, that strained smile, the tension humming just beneath the surface. Her polite nods were practically vibrating with, "I am not okay with this." Harry didn't budge. Everyone held their breath. They could feel that something had shifted. It wasn't just awkward anymore. It was historic. The kind of moment that makes you want to scream into your group chat. Half the room didn't know whether to clap or just sit in stunned silence. The other half stared at Harry like, "Wait, is this real?"
Fake love. He can only show his disdain, and it sure as hell reminds me of the latter stage between Prince Charles and the then Prince Charles and the Princess of Wales.
And then the silence hit. No one moved, no polite clapping, no awkward cheer, just that heavy, stunned hum of collective confusion. People were literally thinking, did we miss something? Even the camera operators froze, unsure whether to pan or stay. It wasn't just awkward, it was iconic. That silence said everything. It wasn't respect, it wasn't admiration. It was the world realizing Meghan might have actually overplayed her hand, and under those bright lights, Meghan looked human. Not regal, not composed, just momentarily stunned. Harry? He kept talking, didn't even throw her a glance. And the crowd followed his lead. In that silence, something unthinkable happened. For the first time ever, Meghan Markle wasn't the brightest star in the room.
Luckily, still too young for social media, but we know that day is coming. And like so many parents, we think constantly about how to embrace technology's benefits while safeguarding against its dangers.
See, the Sussexes have always had their rhythm. Meghan speaks, Harry backs her, she commands, he nods, like a routine, predictable. But that night, Harry broke the rhythm. That mic wasn't just a mic anymore, it was a symbol. Harry wasn't the sidekick anymore. He stood tall, grounded, unmovable. It wasn't loud rebellion. It was quiet, royal defiance. And the world noticed. Clips exploded across social media. People dissecting every second. One comment read, "Finally, Harry stood up for himself." Another joked, "Harry's hand said no before his mouth did." The internet lived for it. Meghan, meanwhile, kept that smile plastered on her face like nothing was wrong. But you could tell, that overdone grin, fooling no one. And the irony? This wasn't supposed to be a moment, but Harry, by simply not moving, made it one. This was his quiet declaration. I'm done being the background character. And the internet, it ran with it. TikTok went wild. X, Twitter, was a battlefield of slow-motion replays. Every blink, every eyebrow twitch turned into a meme. And then came the memes. Oh my God, the memes! Freeze frames, dramatic voiceovers, people acting like it was a royal Shakespearean tragedy. Notice how his shoulders tense, one so-called body language expert declared in a viral video. That's defensive posture. He's reclaiming his space. Another chimed in, Meghan's smile isn't real. Her eyes are doing damage control, and people believed it. Because honestly, the footage didn't lie. This wasn't the polished, hand-in-hand fairy tale they'd built. This was raw, real, unedited. And for Meghan, who's built her entire image on control, that was dangerous. By the next morning, like clockwork, the glossy PR machine kicked in. Airbrushed photos everywhere, Meghan beaming, Harry glowing, headlines declaring, "The Sussexes shine at charity gala." But the internet had receipts, and just when the PR machine thought it could bury the story, fan videos started pouring in, grainy, shaky, but real. You could hear that silence, see Meghan's forced grin, feel the chill between them. People started asking the obvious. If everything was so perfect, why is the media pretending nothing happened? It was classic damage control. Fast, shiny, but transparent. Like trying to cover a wine stain with glitter. For years, Meghan's image was wrapped in layers of polish, carefully managed down to the second. But this time, the polish just didn't stick. Even journalists who normally tiptoe around them couldn't ignore how different it felt. The difference between the social clips and the official coverage was glaring. One journalist even tweeted, "Translation, someone's trying way too hard." And honestly, that tweet alone poured gasoline on the fire. Because the internet loves catching people pretending everything's fine when it's clearly not. And this time, they had the receipts. That microphone became more than a mic. It was a symbol. For years, Harry had been the gentleman co-star in Meghan's glittering narrative. He'd hand her the mic, he'd smile from the background. He let her speak their story while he quietly stood behind her. But not that night. When he held onto that microphone, when he didn't let it go, he wasn't just breaking stage etiquette. He was making a statement. I have my own voice now. And you could see it. Meghan's smile cracked just for the tiniest second. A glitch in the Duchess armor. It was subtle, but millions caught it, replayed it, zoomed in on it like digital detectives. The mic had become the power symbol. Whoever held it held control. And for once, Meghan didn't have it. This wasn't about speeches. This was war in a tuxedo. People described it as palace tension, Hollywood edition. Everyone felt it. No one dared say it out loud, but the whispers, oh, they escaped. By the next morning, insiders were already calling it the calmest argument ever staged in public. If the on-stage moment was the spark, this was the quiet burn. And honestly, body language doesn't lie. Psychologists say 90% of communication isn't spoken, and that night, Harry and Meghan were shouting through posture. Harry stood tall, chin lifted, shoulders squared like a man remembering who he was before the palace drama and podcast deals. Meghan leaned in, smile perfectly rehearsed, but her arms crossed. That classic defensive move that whispers, I'm in control, but barely. Harry's smile was polite but distant, the kind you give when you've already decided something deep down. To the untrained eye, it was just another red carpet moment, but to anyone paying attention, emotional earthquake. The body language experts ate this up. Look at the space between them, one said. Harry's stance shows autonomy. Meghan's posture shows containment. Translation, he's breaking free and she's holding on to what's left. For the first time ever, Harry didn't look like an accessory to Meghan's narrative. He wasn't the quiet plus one. He was the one holding the narrative strings. Team Meghan wasn't having it. They accused the media of blowing things out of proportion, twisting an innocent moment into a power struggle. To them, it was just a husband and wife sharing a stage. Simple. It became bigger than a single moment. It became about control, power, independence versus performance. And for Meghan, this was dangerous territory. Because once the public starts rooting for the partner who used to be in the background, the main character risks becoming the villain. The Sussex PR team must have hit DEFCON 1. Within 48 hours, the official story dropped. Polished, pretty, painfully rehearsed. A source close to the couple claimed Meghan had simply joined Harry on stage spontaneously. They insisted any awkwardness was misinterpreted, right? Because millions of people hallucinated that tension at the exact same time. The problem? The footage didn't lie. That millisecond of Meghan reaching for the mic and Harry not letting go was burned into the internet's collective memory. No amount of press statements could erase it. Fans roasted the spin online. Hashtags like #MikeGate and #PretzelPart2 started trending, throwbacks to Meghan's previous PR disasters. Even mainstream outlets were side-eyeing the official narrative. One columnist nailed it. If you need a press release to explain your body language, you've already lost control of the story. And here's the irony. The couple who once built their image on authenticity suddenly looked the most scripted they'd ever been. The more they denied the tension, the more people believed it. For years, Meghan and Harry controlled the narrative. But this time, the narrative controlled them. Weeks later, the fallout was still simmering. Slowly, quietly, but definitely there. Observers began noticing it at public appearances. Harry still smiled, still waved, still played his part, but something about him felt dimmer, quieter. Meghan, she was everywhere. Charity events, glamorous photo ops, red carpets, all smiles, all sparkle, but it felt forced. The laughter a little too loud, the poses a little too long, the shine a little too staged, and the public started noticing. For the first time, sympathy was leaning toward Harry. People weren't seeing him as the royal runaway anymore. They were seeing him as the man trying to reclaim himself. Meghan's empowered Duchess image started to feel like performance. And people, they were tired of performances. They wanted something real, because here's the thing, and that one little act, Harry not handing her the mic, wasn't just a moment. It was a line in the sand. It wasn't rebellion for drama. It was him saying, I speak for myself now. And once that line is drawn, it's not easily erased. The tension between performance and peace had finally hit the spotlight. Meghan's strength has always been storytelling, control, curation. But Harry? More and more, he's craving something else, something quiet, something real. And that's exactly what made this moment so seismic. Not the words, not the headlines, but the silence. That thick, collective pause that told the world the story had changed.